Aloha, welcome to episode 12, I believe, of the Sacred Healing Support Series. And it's time for the philosophy theme. And I wanted to talk about Hooponopono, which is a Hawaiian practice for healing, coming back into right relationship with oneself, right relationship with spirit, right relationship with others, right relationship with life. And there's a process to do that. And so, as humans, we have been conditioned or imprinted to say things or do things that are not kind, that can be mean, can be hurtful. And that can be to someone else or even to ourselves, to our bodies, to our hearts, to our spirit, to any aspect of ourselves. We can act in a way or talk to ourselves in a way that is not kind and loving. And so when we do that, or when we do that to another person, we say something to them or we do something to them that is hurtful, we have an opportunity. When we come to see that, there's a moment where we can get self-awareness, like, oh gosh, that was not very nice that I just said or did to myself, or what I said or did to someone else. And geez, that's not how I want to be in the world. I want to be a kind, loving, compassionate, caring, loving person. Okay, what can I do about this? And so the first thing is to see it, acknowledge it. And so how Uncle Harry explained to me, Uncle Harry Uhane, who's a kahuna from Maui, sorry, Kauai. I met him on Kauai, and his explanation to me, how I understood his explanation of Ho'oponopono, is that when we come out of relationship with our spirit, when we come out of relationship with ourselves, we forget who we are, we forget our true nature, and we get off kilter, and we will say or do something that is not fully or true to who we really are. And so the Ho'oponopono is actually to spirit, like, kalamai, see me, I'm sorry, I forgot who I am. I forgot that I am one with you, and I forgot that my nature is loving and kind, and please forgive me. And thank you, Spirit, for always being there, always being available to reconnect with, to guide me, to support me, to show me the way, to embrace me. That connection to spirit is always available when we realize we've come out of alignment, or we've become disconnected. And I love you, I love you. You are me. I am the spirit, the essence of love, and that is who I am. And so that's the primary directive of Ho'oponopono, is with spirit. And then when that reconnection, that right relationship, that alignment is reestablished, then we can make amends either with ourselves or with another. So and this means either doing it energetically. You can do it just as a prayer internally, imagining that person, or imagining some part of your body that you've been mean to. You've said something mean about, like, oh, my big flabby belly, it's just so ugly, I can, oh, geez, that was not very nice. And I place my hands on my belly, and I'm like, oh, gee, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And reconnecting to our bellies in a way that is loving and appreciative. And this is a part of me. This part of me deserves love and deserves attention. Thank you. I love you. Reestablishing that right relationship with the part of our body. And or if it's someone else, we can imagine that person, and we can send that prayer out to them energetically from our hearts, from our spirit. Imagine them getting it. And or we can pick up the phone and arrange to go see them in person and own our mistake, our what we said or did that didn't feel good, didn't feel right, that we don't feel good about, own it, acknowledge it, apologize for it, and, express whatever gratitude we can for that person and how they are, what they mean to us, or even just giving thanks for the opportunity to learn to see a way that I can become even more loving. And yeah, so that's Ho'oponopono. And um, and there's a way where we can even send that prayer to someone who has done hurt to us. And this is done in the spirit and the purpose of liberation. Because when we're holding on to a hurt that someone put on us, we have been hurt by something that someone else has said or done. And this can be as simple as like someone said something mean, a little tease even, to like severe like assault, and we're carrying that burden of that trauma or that wrongdoing, and we're letting it continue to hurt us because of carrying it. And so we can do the Ho'oponopono prayer to ourselves, like I'm sorry. Like when I think to a relationship that I was in that was quite abusive emotionally, mentally, and then became physically abusive, and that was like the wake up point, to the point where I was like left the relationship, thank goodness. But I had to go back and do some self-forgiveness work, some Ho'oponopono with myself for putting myself in that situation, and for letting that happen, and for not respecting myself enough. And so I do the Ho'oponopono, even though it was someone who had done something to me, I forgive myself for putting myself in that situation, and I can forgive and release that person for my own benefit, to be freed of that hook, that that wound. And it's not forgetting, it's more just like a releasing of that hook, so that we can be free and they can be free and the healing can happen. And it of course gets way more challenging and in depth as the trauma, the assault becomes greater. And it's a process. It's not like, sometimes it's magical. Like I had a student who reported back to me one of his earlier sessions of Lomi Lomi, right after he took the training, was within the first month. I teach my students to do Ho'oponopono in the Lomi Lomi session because it's part of the Hawaiian healing. And so he guided her through the Ho'oponopono prayer, and she did it with her daughter, who she hadn't spoken to, and I don't remember how long. It might have been 10 years, 6 years, 20 years. I can't remember. A long time. She'd even like put all the photos of her daughter away. And in that Ho'oponopono, she had a spontaneous healing with her daughter, and her heart reopened to her. And she went home and she took the photos out, and she reestablished a connection to her daughter that was from a place of love and appreciation. And the very next day, her daughter phoned her. Like, that's the power and magic of sacred Hawaiian healing, sacred healing. When we, it's this process of coming back to ourselves, coming home, coming back to our hearts, coming back into alignment. Spontaneously in our hearts, in our minds, with a person. And so I just invite you to try Ho'oponopono with yourself. I love doing it time. Like, I had a serious bike accident yesterday. completely wiped out and pretty banged up. And I've just been nonstop Hooponopono and doing the sacred healing techniques that I've taught in the previous episodes, running the energy from earth and heaven and from the trees, and generating that divine healing light and energy from within and without, and sending it to my whole body, imagining it's coming back into alignment, it's healing. And just this Hooponopono is really helped me to stay in a very neutral place. Like, I saw my choice point. I could have got into victim, and like I was starting to see like, oh my God, you were so stupid. How could you do that? Why did you do that? I could have gone into beating myself up and then feeling even worse. I'd have the physical pain compounded by kind of the shame. And I could have like withdrawn and got into myself and went into like a pretty miserable place. I could have done that. I have done that in the past. And then I was like, well, there's another option here. What if I take this as an opportunity to practice sacred healing with myself and generate the energy and do Hooponopono and just really affirm my intention, my knowing that healing is possible, open to healing and miraculous healing. Yesterday, my ankle was in agony. Today, it doesn't really hurt. Other things are hurting, but it's like I'm not miserable. I've actually had an amazing time since the accident because of my practice of Hooponopono. This kept me in alignment. It's kept me in a place of trust and love, and I've been focusing on appreciation. My friend is here. It's beautiful here. I've been just taking it easy and letting go of any resistance and just being in alignment, being in right relationship with myself, with my body as it is, with the situation I'm in, with the people I'm with. And it's been very beautiful, even though I'm in a fair amount of pain, and I feel like the pain could be a lot worse if I wasn't doing the Ho'oponopono practice. So I hope that inspires you to use Ho'oponopono for your own benefit when you're feeling off with yourself, with another, with life, all of the above, because that can happen. That does happen. I invite you to try Ho'oponopono. And please leave comments about your experience with it, your thoughts, any questions you have, and share it with others. I really, on the rock, when we were just by the lake, we were talking about what if we could create a world, or imagine a world where something else was possible, where it was different. And I said, well, what if we lived in a world where we prioritized healing? Healing was like the most important thing. Healing people's trauma, healing the unnecessary suffering, and so that perpetuation of trauma wouldn't carry on. Well, it starts with us. It starts with us doing our own healing work, healing ourselves, coming back into alignment, right relationship, making right what is right, which is a direct translation of Ho'oponopono, to make right what is right, coming back into alignment, right relationship. And from that place, life is pretty exquisite. And we do right, and we feel connected, and we come from a place that's heart-led, that is naturally compassionate and caring and loving. And just imagine that world, and I hope you will help co-create that with me. Thank you. Blessings.